Hey, welcome back to Hughes and Holman. Today I'm in my Zone 6 New York garden tackling a big project. We had a couple trees taken down, so we rented a chipper and got to work turning those branches into mulch. You'll see the before and after, and trust me, the wood chips make a huge difference. Towards the end, we did run out and couldn't mulch everything, but it still gave the garden a beautiful upgrade. So before we could really get started, we had to figure out the chipper. It's not an equipment we use often, so my husband had to do a little troubleshooting. At first, it was a lot of stop and go, mostly stop, but after a few tries and some patience, he got it running smoothly, and that's when the real chipping began. One of the first decisions we had to make was where to put the mulch. At first, we thought about chipping everything into the driveway and hauling it back with the wheelbarrow, but that started to feel like a pretty tedious idea. So then we switched gears and decided to chip straight into the garden, which that worked much better, but we got the machine and didn't realize just how powerful it was. So we had to set up some quick makeshift barriers to protect the plants, and a few plants did take a few hits, but nothing serious, and some even got a nice layer of mulch because of it. I decided to jump in and give the wood chipper a try. I grabbed a few of the smaller branches and went for it, and it was definitely a powerful machine and not for me. At this point, the chipping was in full swing. Branches were going in one after another, and the mulch pile was growing faster and faster. It really felt like we were making a dent, and honestly, we were. But even with all that mulch, it still was not enough to cover the whole garden. It's kind of wild how fast it disappears once you start spreading it, especially if you're doing a thick layer. I knew I'd be spending the next few days slowly working that mulch into place. And while the chipping was loud and messy, the real work was just beginning. With the chipping done, it was time to start what was definitely the most tedious part of the whole project, but also the most rewarding, and that's laying down the mulch. It might not be glamorous, but there's something really satisfying about seeing all the hard work come together. In this section of the garden, I had already made some progress. You can see that I'm carefully pouring and spreading out the mulch, just working it in to get a good thick layer. I didn't just want to toss it around and call it a day. I took my time and made sure every spot was covered well. A thick layer helps keep in moisture and suppresses weeds. Also, it gives everything just a beautiful finished look. Plus, there's something kind of meditative about slowly transforming your garden a section at a time. Even if you have to, roll that wheelbarrow back and forth more times than you can count. And yes, I do take the time to lift up each branch and get the mulch tucked underneath. It's not the quickest part, but again, like I mentioned, it's important. If you just mulch around the outside, you'll miss what really counts. I wanted to make sure the base of the plant had good coverage so that they stayed hydrated and protected once the summer heat sets in, if it ever does with all this rain we're getting. One thing I really love about this project is that we didn't have to buy anything really new. Yeah, we did have to get the mulcher, but the mulch came from the trees from our own property. The branches would have otherwise gone to waste, so it's a great reminder that sometimes your best garden resources are already in your yard. Natural mulch likes to break down over time and actually improves the soil. There's no plastic and no extra cost. Now, I won't pretend like spreading all of this was quick or that I didn't have a few moments of regret mid wheelbarrow, but there's a rhythm to it. Another day and another wheelbarrow full of mulch. At this point, I was deep into the hauling phase, shoveling in as much mulch as I could and just doing my best to keep things moving. You also see a glimpse of the makeshift barrier we had set up. It worked out very well. It protected the plants and it definitely did the job. But before any mulch could go down, the weeds had to come out. So those are one of the garden rules I wish I could skip, but nope, it's a must. I did my best to clear out as many weeds as I could. It's a lot, as you can see, that have come in. This weed barrier really didn't do its job as well as one would imagine. Over time, it does break down and the weeds kind of creep through. So again, I just took my time and removed as many as the weeds as I could before I put down the layer of mulch. So as I continue to make progress in the garden, my daughter did come out and wanted to help me. So I gave her a task that she'd actually enjoy. Some of our garlic, the Thai fire that I had mentioned in my last video, was ready to harvest. I had already pulled a few, but I let her take over and finish the job. So garlic is one of those fun plants that kids like to harvest because you never really know what you're going to get until you pull it. Some bulbs are tiny, some are huge, and that surprise makes it exciting. Just like carrots and radishes, it's a great way to get the kids involved in the garden. She really took to it and enjoyed looking at each one as her own little prize. So I finally finished spreading out all the mulch. I got to say, I'm really glad it's done. It was a lot of work, but stepping back and seeing how much cleaner, neater, and more finished the garden looks, totally worth it. And that wraps it up. This big mulching project is done, well, almost done. As you can see there, I have a few bare patches that didn't get covered up, but I'll pick up some natural mulch soon and finish up those areas. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Take care.